Brandon? Brandon?
Just taking a little cat nap. Woo! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, obscure Ric Flair references always start out another fine episode of the Slamcast. I am your host, Brandon Liggan. The two-man booth is in effect. Nick Horacek is joining me. We're going to break down everything that's happening, the pre-SummerSlam preview, as well as all the other various news and goings-on in the wrestling world. Nicholas, how are you this fine Friday night when we're recording this?
Yeah, back on Friday night because I don't have to work tonight. Yeah, it's good.
Normal schedule.
Yep. It's good. Been playing the shit out of that Rare Replay collection, so.
I've heard things about it. I'm not a big nostalgia guy, so it's not gonna get me. Now, granted, I'm gonna go out and spend money on the Gears of War. He says, the Gears of War edition, but that's not nostalgia. That game's less than 10 years old. Anyway, That's for another show. That's for IGG. But we're here to talk about all of the goings on in the world of professional wrestling, and we'll talk about a little MMA too. Squeeze it in there because content is king, bitches. It's been an interesting week in wrestling, and always the first week after a great tragedy. But by the way, I mean, we should, if you listen to this podcast before the actual day of the funeral, please observe the worldwide moment of silence that the family of Roddy Piper have called for all his fans to observe during his funeral. That they will then observe. It will be 10:30 Pacific time, 1:30 Eastern. You can work it out from there. But if you're listening to this podcast and it's before that time, we please implore you to, if you claim to be a fan of Roddy Piper, please take that moment and reflect on that. But it's like I said, always after the first Raw after one of these big tragedies, you see the roster, come together and really put on a great show. And that's what I think we had in Raw this week. I'm not going to regurgitate everything that happened in Raw, just some stuff, because I hadn't watched an episode of Raw from beginning to end. I actually sat down and watched it because there were times I was falling asleep while I was watching it because it was just the pacing of the show was just so dull. I couldn't watch it anymore, and it just became, unless there was something that I really absolutely felt the need to watch, I would go back on my DVR and watch just that part. But I felt that they did a pretty good job of at least getting my interest back into Raw. I don't know how much I was influenced by what might be the greatest Paul Heyman promo of all time, some people are calling. But it seems like every Paul Heyman promo he does is the greatest Paul Heyman promo of all time.
He has a knack. It's just this gift he has for promos. Like, Brock Lesnar is the smartest man on the planet. He gets paid just to stand back there and
that's the smartest creative decision they've ever made, I think, when it comes to Brock Lesnar. Because when they brought Brock back, Heyman wasn't immediately with him. It was just Brock Lesnar showing up in the WWE on his own. Like, what is it, Triple H? How did they bring him back? It was like Triple H re-signed him. Is what it was. Is that how they? What did Triple H? Triple H re-signed him to mess with John Cena or to spice things up. Just so he was during his Triple H's COO tenure or something like that. Yeah. But this has been the best creative decision that they've made with in regards to Brock Lesnar, because I mean that's there's nothing else you can do, because you could have Heyman essentially generate interest for this guy's matches for him. All he has to do is literally just stand there and listen to Paul Heyman do what Paul Heyman does best and
Yep.
speak on a live microphone in front of a live crowd. I mean, I love the fact that he's interactive with the crowd too. Like, I mean, at least once a week when he does one of these promos, he puts down a heckler or somebody who's like doing something, points out something. It's it's masterful, masterful. And if
Yep.
anybody who's wanting to know how to cut a promo nowadays, I mean, it's don't copy Paul Heyman, but that's what you need to do. There are far too many people out there in the professional wrestling independent circuit that are direct copies of Paul Heyman, myself being one of them. So we don't need any more of those
Yeah.
out there. I was fine being a third-rate Paul Heyman ripoff. Okay, let's be real. I was a fifth-rate Paul Heyman ripoff. I give myself that much credit. Um,
Yeah.
but
Heyman
yeah, Heyman is
like, I remember that first night
he
he came
called
back
the
on Raw.
Undertaker a bitch.
Oh
Who
my
has done
god.
that? Who had no one, not even during the height of the Attitude Era, has anybody even been like treaded on the Undertaker's path? The Undertaker's always been that sacred cow. Like nobody, like I said, even during the height of the Attitude or Ruthless Aggression era, no one
Hmm.
attacked the Undertaker that verbally and viciously as Paul Heyman did in one promo. He called the
Yeah.
Undertaker a bitch.
Yep.
Now, okay, yes, I know this is all a work. Paul Heyman's not actually shooting. Paul Heyman does not actually believe the Undertaker is a bitch. But holy shit, the fact that he actually said it, had the balls to say it, where nobody else
Yeah.
would have the balls to even say that on a live microphone in front of a camera.
Yeah. Well, look who he's got behind him.
Well, yes,
If you
obviously.
look at it that way, that's why, like, Heyman has this just amazing way to get heat. He will do what he can to get heat from a crowd, knowing the fact that I got Brock Lesnar to back my ass up.
I
So,
mean, on the East Coast, on this coast, he's beloved. Like, I mean, there's no up and down the East Coast of the United States, and I'm sure even in Chicago and in true wrestling towns, he's beloved. Philadelphia, he's up, God
he is
walks on
God in
water.
Philly. Yep.
He walks on water in Philadelphia, as far as some wrestling fans are concerned.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just it's a master class watching Paul Heyman does this thing. And again, this will be another feud that will be entirely carried by promos.
Hmm.
Like there's going to be no okay. They had their conflict. Their conflict was early on. From here on out, for the rest until SummerSlam, until they get Lesnar and Undertaker in the ring together, it's going to be promo city. And it's not even going to be Undertaker promos. It's going to be just like the feud with Wyatt. It's just going to be all Brock Lesnar through Paul Heyman,
Yes.
and
That
I'm
was
fine.
when the Lesnar train really started to get going since his comeback. Once they got Heyman back, that's where it was off to the fucking races.
Yeah, it's as soon as pretty much as soon as his whole he used Brock as his retribution in the CM Punk feud. It's
Hmm.
been that train has been slowly building, and it's now this colossal juggernaut what it is. Where we don't need to see Brock Lesnar fight for the WWE title, yet we're still interested in the match because we're gonna get this rematch of this fabled moment in
This
now in
moment
wrestling
that no
history.
one thought they would ever see.
I I thought I would see it because I had always been saying there's no way the Undertaker retires undefeated. If he retires undefeated, it leaves it open for someone the next year to just be the guy. Oh, I'm going to be the guy to conquer the streak. I want to be the guy who conquers the streak, and it just goes on and on and on in an infinite loop, forever and ever. Once the streak is no longer there, it's when it sets the stage for the Undertaker to finally back away from being an in-ring competitor at some point.
Hmm.
Now, whether that's in the next 2 or 3 years, I'm convinced the Undertaker could at least do one, maybe two. It looks like it's going to be one because it looks like, Texas is going to be a perfect place for him to go out. Texas Stadium, if they are able to, or AT&T Stadium, if they're able to pack as many people as they hope to pack into that building.
Hmm.
That's a perfect place for probably the greatest big man in wrestling history, and that's including Andre the Giant. But absolutely the most versatile big man. He revolutionized. I'm not to eulogizing the Undertaker's career, but when the book is finally all said and done on him, he will go down as the most versatile big man in the history of
Hmm.
wrestling, and changed the way not only gimmicks are conceived and executed, how the presentation of entrances, how just everything he did that. His
Hmm.
career, changed how wrestling is both broadcasted, how characters are made.
Like,
It
and the
pushed the
gimmick
limits.
itself, the
It's
Undertaker gets,
simple,
yeah,
something so simple that just grew legs and became this mythical
hmm
force. And again, it will go down in wrestling history.
and I don't think anyone else could have pulled it off. And
No,
that's what
absolutely.
makes it so special.
And I parrot the Triple H quote all the time. 99 other guys could have tried that gimmick, and they probably all would have failed. That was the one guy who just looked the part, had the right mindset, was the right skill set in the ring, and was doesn't get, as far as locker room leadership goes, it doesn't get any higher
Hmm.
than the Undertaker as far as some people are concerned. Um, yeah, I don't know. I hate to eulogize the guy already because the guy's career is not already over with, but when the book is written, all said and done, if there's no like first ballots for Hall of Famers in the WWE, but he ever was one, if there was,
Hmm.
but
And
it's
people have said that, Ric Flair is one of those guys that's first ballot Hall of Famer, easy. There's so many guys that
Ric Flair deserves a wing in
his
the
own
Hall of
wing.
Fame. Yeah, it's the Ric Flair Museum
Yep.
of Ric Flair. He names a museum after himself, the Ric Flair Museum of Ric Flair,
I love that.
of Ric Flair
And you wouldn't
greatness.
question that because he is Ric Flair.
Exactly, because he is the nature boy. I mean, because you could just there's so many other parts of Flair's career that you could just require so many.
Hmm.
Anyway, enough of my fanboying about Ric Flair. Speaking of no, we're not going to talk about that. We'll talk about that later. Um, I'll fanboy out about something for a little while and be a total nerd. Um, but like I said, the SummerSlam card is slowly starting to take shape.
Yep.
There's one big thing that's missing, and we're gonna bring this up because it has been a story that's become outside of wrestling, and that's Ryback's ever bulging knee.
Oh, fuck,
Yeah,
dude.
that's not looking good, man. That's not looking like that's something that he's gonna come back from anytime soon. I think
Yeah.
he's gonna be out for a pretty long time.
Yeah. Swear to
That
God.
means, you know what that means, Nicholas? They got to do something with the Intercontinental title.
Yes.
And you know what feud seems like it's perfect for an Intercontinental title feud?
Sounding like Owen Cesaro.
Yeah! Yeah,
Oh
I
my
think
God.
that segment was one of my highlights of Raw because it's gonna prove two things. One, why did anybody think Cesaro couldn't cut a promo and be entertaining on the microphone? Why did anybody ever think that? I don't know because this guy is, showing that he is
The
perfectly
dude
capable.
is insanely talented. He's
Yeah,
strong. He looks like a wrestler. I mean, you don't think he's
yeah.
he's
I'm.
it's not like a big jacked up dude. He's deceptively strong. You wouldn't think this guy could do the things he could do.
I want to know the person that in the creative staff that just didn't have the faith in this guy. That was like, or if there was one person holding him back, I want to see this person because this person should be made to walk the plank of the internet because they are wrong, so
Yeah,
wrong.
and I
All you had to
think we
do is give
know.
this guy the chance. Yeah, your favorite target now.
Yeah, Kevin
Um,
Dunn.
yeah,
You know,
just well,
it's in the lost episode what I said about the guy, which we'll get more than likely heard at some point. But
when we get hard up for content, we'll edit it heavily to get all like the. There was a lot of topical references that only could take place of that week in wrestling, and now it's
mhm,
totally the landscape is totally different, so it's totally fucking irrelevant to talk about. But there were some snippets and tidbits. Maybe we'll get a special episode one week out
yeah,
of it. Good luck with that. But uh, what was I just saying? Yeah, whoever thought really that Cesaro couldn't be a capable main event player or at least upper mid card player is wrong because
Yeah.
This Owens Cesaro feud is an upper mid card feud and it's arguably one of the most compelling things on there. The second thing that this proves, I mean, this is just the further evidence that Kevin Owens is whoever doubted Kevin Owens' ability to be in the WWE, because they should be made to walk the plank too. Because there's
Hmm.
another guy who's just consistently in every segment that he's been in and every match that he's been in
Is
since
that good? Yes.
he's been the best part of the match. He's
Hmm.
done things that WWE fans probably haven't seen before, that most of which are seeing for the first time and going, "Holy shit, what am I seeing?"
Hmm.
I guarantee no WWE fans ever saw a package power bomb before Kevin Owens did. Never saw anybody turnbuckle power bomb somebody onto the apron before.
Yeah, and I mean, I like how he's done things. I mean,
How
he
he's,
wasn't gonna be able to use package pile driver. We
I
know
like
that.
how he's basically seamlessly inserted himself into the upper mid card picture of the Raw main event picture, whatever you call it. He's instantly, just by being on the show, he's instantly in that I guess just below the title category, because if Cena's going for the title, he just feud with Cena. You would have to obviously just put him just below him.
Hmm.
It's but this is that thing with the Miz. He was the best part of that segment with the Miz, and all he had to do is really just say, three words at the end. Get out of the ring. Why don't you let the real guys, the real people who could fight, get out of the ring? Okay,
Yeah.
bud. Like, he said something so fucking like insulting to the Miz, but he said it because he's Canadian. He said it kind of nice, and it's just
Yeah.
great, just great. I think Kevin Owens versus Cesaro deserves the Intercontinental title as a prize. I mean, it's the only really thing befitting this feud. This feud really doesn't, I think, have any justice if you know it doesn't have a title going for it.
Owens and
This
Cesaro could
deserves an
have a
Intercontinental title
money
feud.
feud.
Yeah, this could be this. I don't think this idea will fail. I think this is Operation cannot possibly fail.
Hmm. Yeah, you have to, go pretty hard to screw this up. You've got two guys that are very talented in the ring, that can cut promos, that are over as fuck. And again, you're gonna need the Intercontinental title. We're not gonna see it for a while.
It really looks that way, and I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on my podcast or on TV or anything else like that.
Hmm.
But Ryback's knee does not look healthy,
No.
and does not look like it's going to be somebody that's going to be back before the pay per view. That would be two pay per views in a row where he hasn't defended the title, and maybe call me an old fashioned wrestling purist, but if you don't defend the title in 60 days, you have
30
to vacate
days.
it.
Well,
Well,
you know,
yeah, it
and I'm
used to
gonna
be
cut
30 days.
back
Yes.
to I remember a promo Edge did back in '04. It's like, it's amazing he can introduce that 30 days or whenever he wants to. He was talking about Eric Bischoff, who was GM at the time, who I still say is one of the better heel GMs we've seen. Bischoff knew how to play a character, but that's besides the point. But yeah, I always knew of a 30-day rule that if you didn't defend the title, you got stripped of it. And they've been
Yeah,
very,
that's the Jack Tunney rule.
yes, the old
It's
Jack Tunney rule. It's
good
like,
old Jack Tunney.
yeah, and they just seem to introduce it for, plot convenience.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know what it is. It's just they don't. This situation came up with Ryback. It was not in their original plans, so they have to. There's A, seeing how it plays out, and then B, deciding after it plays out once they have a final medical decision. Because at least if they didn't want the title on Ryback, they would have just taken it off of him as soon as they knew he was going to miss Battleground.
Hmm.
They would have just said,
Right. It's the same
okay,
thing with Daniel Bryan last year. They let
exactly.
it play out. They see because
For
they
as
wanted to keep the
long
title.
as they could, and then once it got to a point where they realistically couldn't have the title off on another guy or off TV, they had to do something, and John Cena It's LOL.
Yes. And again, I said before on the show that showed the big hole in the main event scene of WWE
Yeah,
when.
there's just no one injury can totally derail an entire year's worth of programming, probably.
Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm. But yeah, I really hope that this feud at least gets the title somehow worked into it, even if it has to absorb Ziggler and Rusev into it, who were kind of I would
Which I'd be fine with.
yeah,
You
I
know.
would like to see an amalgamation of that, of those four guys going after the Intercontinental title, and then having the Cesaro Kevin Owens feud continue after as an Intercontinental title feud with either one of those guys winning the title. I could Doesn't really matter. I think Kevin Owens needs it to validate everything that he's been saying about himself since he comes in, and he, like I said, since he's come in to the company, he's absolutely been one of the best guys, other than if you want to count wins and losses and stuff like that, it's Seth Rollins and John Cena, and then
Hmm.
Kevin Owens. Like, as far as pure wins and losses.
Yep.
Uh,
And I mean, we've
so
seen great things out of Seth Rollins. He's got a new shirt. You can't see me.
Oh, it's just so hilarious. The fact that a week later they're come out with his John Cena parody shirt, and that's goes to show that Seth Rollins has truly arrived. He joins the long list of people to have John Cena parody shirts, uh,
Yes.
including The Rock, CM Punk,
When CM
and
Punk had his own, Rock parody shirt. So,
yes,
which
yes.
I mean, I hope because I guess this is now title for title, which
Yes, that's
scares
what they
me.
are saying. Well, it's like they're taking a little bit of a page from ROH. They're like,
Yep.
oh, okay, people will watch a title for title match again. Okay, well, let's see. We'll unify and like, I mean, if any title is going to get absorbed into Seth Rollins or John Cena's, or yeah, any title is going to get absorbed into Seth Rollins' title, I'd rather see it be
The U.S.
this
title,
title
which
than the Intercontinental title or anything else like that. Yeah, because
because the
really the U.S.
Intercontinental
title.
title has more prestige within WWE.
But here's the thing: if they wanted to do away with the United States title, having John Cena drop it to Seth Rollins and then it just going away is the perfect way to have it going away, because it's just like, well, no one's going to take it off Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins is going to retire with this championship, or like just say, yep, okay, I'm the champion. I have the United States Championship, and
And that's it. And this,
no one else gets it anymore until I lose the title, and then he'll say, maybe bring it back and say, oh, I'm still the United States champion. No one beat me for this.
which I
Yeah,
like, which is a total heel move.
total heel move. Just if Seth Rollins lost the WWE title to John Cena at some point, or also to somebody, comes out the next day and has this, well, I'm automatically still the United States champion, right? Doesn't that give me something? I'm the number one contender. At least makes me,
Yeah,
you
which I
know.
could see Seth doing because that's the type of heel he is.
But see, that's the thing. What they have to decide about with Seth Rollins, they have to decide if Seth Rollins is just chicken shit, who's going to play the chicken shit heel, or just somebody who's being overtly protected,
Right.
or he kind of borders on this, you know,
There's a line.
evil mastermind kind of thing. The guy who's really playing everybody, well, or then here's this guy who's just being, cowardly and protected, and
Hmm.
doesn't know like how to handle the spot he's been given. Literally just cashed in Money in the Bank and then didn't really think about what happens
Bada bing,
afterwards.
bada
So
boom, world champion. Yeah.
yeah, not prepared to deal with being world champion. That's what I think they really have to decide with Seth Rollins. At some point in time, there has to be somebody who has to be fall a victim to a Seth Rollins masterstroke, or they have to have somebody to protect Seth Rollins to, like, to prove that, yes, this is who we want as the future of the champion, as our champion, because Seth Rollins is good for the WWE's image. I think he's a young, not bad looking fellow. You know, I'm sure there are many of a female viewer who would probably agree with me, female wrestling fan that probably agree with me.
Yep.
Um, he's got a lot of personality, charming. He's in shape. He's everything you want a face of your brand to be. It's unfortunate that his disposition is a heel, or else he would be the number one face of the company. I think, but he's already the number one heel, so that's in my mind just as good, maybe even better.
Yep.
So having him as your WWE champion is a good maneuver in the long term for WWE because this is a guy that you could bring out to mainstream media appearances, who looks the part, can
Hmm.
be engaging with people who aren't wrestling fans. He's helps sell what WWE is trying to be nowadays, the perfect hybrid of entertainment and athletics.
Hmm.
He considers himself an athlete, just does a performance sport. Um, so having Seth Rollins as your WWE champion makes sense for the
As a
foreseeable
face of
future.
your company, yeah. And
Yeah,
again, WWE, you don't need to just have one guy that's the face. You could have, business did fairly well when you had guys like Stone Cold and The Rock and Triple H and Kurt Angle all on top
it
at the
did.
same time.
It did. But they're at this point in time, I really don't think they've invested enough time developing other people.
Yes.
And I think
I feel
you
like
know
they've done that with Seth.
there is one person though that I think uh, is like the last true test for other than Roman Reigns, where we haven't gotten that Roman Reigns Seth Rollins
Yep.
WWE title feud yet, which I think will happen eventually. But the one person that I think will bring out that genius master stroke in Seth Rollins, someone for him to manipulate and play off against, Daniel Bryan. I think Cena's gonna go away for a little bit. I keep on saying that Cena's gonna go away for a bit, and he never goes away. But I really think he's due for another one of his, vacation sabbaticals.
Yep.
I'm not saying he wants to do this. I'm just saying there's something else that is lined up for him business wise, where he could take a little bit of time off being on Raw and being on regular WWE television for a month to go film a movie, maybe the man wants to go on vacation. I don't know. Like I said, if anybody certainly deserves it, it's
Yep.
fucking John Cena.
Randy
After
Orton's gotten a few, and I'm sure Vince McMahon's backstage saying, "What the hell's a vacation, you son of a bitch?"
yeah, I mean to Vince McMahon, that is a vacation. Going to work is his vacation.
Yeah.
But I'm sure
One
Cena.
hard-working motherfucker, that Vince McMahon.
Absolutely, who's, by the way, recently just became a billionaire again. So congratulations, Uncle Vince. Congratulations on becoming a billionaire again. Try not to mess it up.
Please don't.
It turns out that WWE Network thing, not a bad idea after all.
Yep, it's
Uh, I,
profitable.
I do
Now we
believe.
just need some more content. Maybe start uploading more nitros.
Yes, please, if you're listening to this, and I know you're listening to this because they have absolutely brought up used ideas that I have suggested on this show, i.e., the King of the Ring tournament. Um,
Hmm.
uh, uh, please upload more nitros. We're just getting into the point where the NWO just started to get really really good
Yes.
just before it got.
And of course, how about some more of those old ECW hardcore TVs, like some of that stuff from TNN? Because they're
Yeah.
still doing the hardcore TVs.
Yeah,
Like,
they were like they first got of the first big break is the MSG network, which is the local sports channel in the New York market,
hmm
started playing ECWs at night, and then that got them picked up because for a while WCW had one of their like clip shows of, like, it was WCW Worldwide, which is just basically, I don't think there was any original matches on it. It was just basically a brief Nitro recap and a brief, Thunder recap, and then maybe a matchup from the
right.
pay per view or something like that. Um, Whereas when they were still doing WCW, maybe Saturday nights, maybe or something like that. But they took their time slot on the CBS affiliate in this market, and that's what really took them off. That's just, oh,
hmm
people will watch this crazy hardcore wrestling promotion from Philadelphia that was only just on local Philadelphia television for a while. So yeah, that's what took it off. By the way, those ECW shows, they don't get really enough credit. The creative that was going on at that point in time was really really. I mean, granted, the pacing of the shows were like so weird. It was literally just guys come out, not even to start a match. Like guys come out, start a promo. Someone comes out to like
Mhm.
either they were talking shit about that person or just someone comes out to shut them up. Then they have a match. Then either someone comes out to interfere and help out the heel or face win or equalize even the stakes,
Mhm.
and then that person has a match. Like it was really like really oddly booked, but whatever. Still good to watch. Cyrus the Virus, though. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Well, I
That
mean,
was a great.
especially like some of those, early like hardcore heavens and heat waves before
Yeah.
pay per view when they were like the
Yes.
big specials and or whatever however they
Yeah,
do it.
on local Philadelphia television or whatever
Hmm.
they were on. Yeah.
Because I would like to
Oh.
go back and watch the full event. The chair shot heard around the world. Things like that.
Oh man, yeah, those ECW shows were they did a lot of
Yeah.
weird things. The
Hey,
Raven
WWE,
Cruise.
you even did, top 25 rivalries, and Tommy Dreamer and Raven was right up there. So,
Yeah, I loved again the booking that they did for that rivalry. Like they even gave like this huge backstory.
yeah, well, I just listened to, Raven on Jericho's podcast, and he was talking about it. The
Great.
backstory, how Raven completely changed himself from
Yeah,
Johnny Polo
yeah.
to this this character, this
Just
Raven. It
th-
was,
it was that's one of the greatest transformations, metamorphoses in wrestling history. I
mhm.
think for a guy, talk about a guy reinventing himself and having success with it. Like that's
Yeah, and Raven's one of the
complete.
smartest guys in the
Yeah,
business.
yeah. I always said like I felt bad the one time I actually had a chance to meet him. I chose Jerry Lawler over him. Like it was huge because I was a huge fan of Raven. That was like right in my wheelhouse. But I also had the chance to meet Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler did one of the greatest angles in wrestling history with Andy fucking Kaufman.
Yeah,
So
and he came in the big surprise in
absolute.
ECW and
Yeah,
ruptured one
exactly.
of Tommy Dreamer's testicles. Tommy, you
Oh man,
did
great,
so much, and you
great. Tommy
you should.
Dreamer. Speaking of interesting story, Tommy Dreamer was at a local bar in Poughkeepsie, hanging out, signing autographs during Raw this week. I wonder if that's going to be a continuous thing. Might have to show up there with a live microphone and get Tommy Dreamer to record some things.
Yeah,
Might just have to do that.
that'd be cool.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind.
thinking out loud. Um,
None of this is for sure, people, but we're just like
thinking
random
out loud,
thinking out
thinking
loud.
out loud. But all right, so going back to this SummerSlam
Yes,
preview,
bring it back.
preview. Something that I thought that you mentioned that WWE can't possibly fail. I mentioned something that this I've said this before on the podcast. This Bray Wyatt is like the way they've been booking this. This can't possibly fail until they did something this week that kind of just is a head scratcher,
Yeah,
and I don't know why they did this, and and I would like please at least like an explanation why. Why was Sheamus in the Wyatt brothers family
I don't know.
smoky promo room? Totally killed the mystique, man. That totally kills it now because now you just know it's just some place where some guys could go, and it's not like this evil realm that Bray Wyatt comes from or
Unless
something like that.
there's something that's gonna become of this, maybe,
No, I
which
literally just
there
think
won't
they
be.
used it. They used it for whatever purposes they had. I mean, it was clearly just to, put over the six-man tag team match that they were having at the end of Raw. That was the main event. That just gonna like two brief words on that. If Roman Reigns could do nothing but just punch, jump in the air, and punch people, and pow and kick people on the turnbuckles, and just do all his like special signature moves, he would be that guy. But this guy still needs a little bit more fine tuning, I guess you could say, in the
Hmm.
other aspects of his wrestling. I'm not
Yep.
saying he's like completely atrocious, but
Right.
there's some things in there that I just question the decision making
Yeah,
and
because I don't
control them.
hate Roman Reigns. I
I
hate the
don't.
fact that
I
he got pushed to the moon for.
I don't even hate that. I don't even hate that. I just think here's a guy who's just not quite there yet.
Yes.
I understand that his time is coming, and like they have a lot of hope that he's a successful because he could be a guy that could take the company and could be one of these guys along with Seth Rollins to be face of the company. He's a good face of good,
And he could be
ambassador.
the ultimate, baby face. They could play up the fact, he's a family man. He's
Exactly.
And
That's
I feel like
when.
Roman Reigns is like, John Cena, he does all the charity work and yada yada yada,
Yeah,
and it's like
he's
Roman could do
they're
the
trying
same stuff, but
they're trying to build him as what they wanted Cena to be, because they wanted Cena to be this tough guy. But they wanted men to like Cena, and they wanted, like,
and
just.
it worked for a while, but you booked him to be Superman too much, and you've really at the
It,
expense of a lot of your roster.
and
I
it was
mean,
this, and it was the same thing with Roman Reigns. They booked this guy to be, the face of the company when he really wasn't equipped to do that. Yes, he's grown into that, and he's become, you know, in fact, now the exemplary model of what that person who's in that role should be. But I just don't. I don't think there's a he's just ready yet, because there's lacking something. He's lacking something, man, and I don't know what it is, but he's just lacking that fine tuning, that polish, that definitive move repertoire of things that we want to see him to do, other than a Samoan drop and the Superman punch and the spear and the turnbuckle, or the uh, apron dropkick thing that he does.
right.
He's got to. There's got to be something he could do in that ring to impress people more. But like those things that he does do, he does it fucking fantastic. Um, I kind of like this Shield 2.0 that they have going with him and Ambrose, where they're like the default. I have a feeling though that might come to a head, and they might use that as just a creative outlet for one of the two guys, given the lack of anything. Okay, hey, we don't have anything else for you, Dean. We don't have anything for you, Roman. We're gonna put you together in some guys. Like, you could see that maybe at Royal Rumble, if Roman
And
is
I
not.
could see, this it still works because these guys are still friends, especially on camera. Seth that turned on them. They both hate Seth Rollins. It works. I could see him, teaming up randomly, at times, and it still makes sense. So, but it's like, oh well, we don't have anything for D now. Let's put him with
Put him with
Roman.
Roman. Put him with Roman to see what else Roman do. Have him help out Roman. Be
Yeah.
Roman's buddy.
And I could see
He's
it working
Roman's
because,
girlfriend.
now Roman not only has Bray to worry about, but he has Luke Harper.
Yeah, and there's a report that they might add a third person, and I mean, I wish they would have, if they were going to do this, they would have done it sooner, while the iron was still proverbially hot, when this guy had, a bit of buzz to him, because they just didn't capitalize it when I felt it was there. They're going to turn Adam Rose back to Leo Kruger, and he's going to be the I guess third member of the Wyatt family until Eric Rowan returns, and they're
Hmm.
going to eventually just redo this stable over again.
Yeah, the character fits. I could see, the
Yeah,
Leo, because from what little bit I've seen of the Leo Kruger character, I'm like, this would be a perfect Wyatt family member.
yeah, he really was a, like, because they were in NXT, I think, around at the same time. Like, I don't know
Yes.
why they didn't uh, include him in that.
I don't know. They
Uh,
were doing. He was. Kruger was kind of on his own, and then for the NXTs that are on the network, when I started going back and watching through them, that was right around the time they turned him into Adam Rose.
yeah, that's what he got his call up.
Yep.
But what I was saying, like, this guy had a lot of momentum right after that ESPN
The E60
E60.
thing, yes.
Because it showed him in a very humanizing light, so you got to know
Yeah.
that, the man, not behind the character, not just the character. So if they wanted to really put the creative, push behind him, they should have done it, 3 months ago.
Yeah, but
But
they were more focused on other things, which doesn't make any
I
sense.
guess
But
so. I guess so. I think it might be a little too late, but I mean, who knows? If anybody can save this guy's career, and if they do, this is just, again, just a rumor. If anyone could save this guy's career, it's Bray Wyatt. I think Bray Wyatt could do no wrong at this point. Even though, yes, the Sheamus thing doesn't make sense, I just.
hmm
But I mean, like I said, that's the major feuds that are going into SummerSlam Who
Yep.
knows what's going to happen? We're going to have something, obviously something with the tag team titles and New Day and primetime players. That's obvious where that's coming to a head.
Yep.
I wish they would, give other tag teams, the chance because I think the tag team division is deep enough and there's enough talent there where they could put on like if they wanted to do a tag team scramble TLC kind of style match. I
And
think
since the Vaudevillains are getting a rematch against Blake and Murphy on NXT at the Takeover, maybe throw, if they're gonna do like a tag team turmoil, throw Enzo and Cass in there.
yeah, just do like the tag team division is deep. Like I don't think they realize how deep it actually was since the Usos were gone. Because again, remember it's the Usos pretty much cleared out the division, and then it's the only the Matadors. That was basically it. It was the Usos and the Matadors. That was the only other tag teams in the WWE at one point in time. Primetime players.
Yep.
Uh Not even actually. Sorry, they weren't even together. They just recently got back together.
Yeah.
Um, but that there was after having no talent in the division, now we realize that there are actually they do have to do something with the Ascension though. I feel like there's
I feel like
never
they just got called these guys up and have done jack shit with them.
yeah, they were expecting it to just be the same dominating force, but they didn't book them like this dominating force. They didn't really put them over anybody. They put them over the prime time or whoever Darren Young was teaming with at the time. They put them
Uh,
up against the Brotherhood, didn't they?
the Outlaws,
The
the Edge
Outlaws.
Outlaws.
Yeah, I mean that's like that was it. They really didn't do anything. If they really wanted to strap them the like creative force behind, they just sort of put the belts on these guys first, like because that's what they came from just being this dominant tag team in NXT. They lost their belts in a fluke. Then they did the Hideo Itami feud, which they were the pawn to bring
No,
in
they
Finn
didn't lose
Balor.
them in a fluke. They lost them. It was the
Them to
Lucha
Lucha.
Dragons. It was the
Sorry, yeah, they
Lucha
lost them.
Dragons that lost them in a fluke.
Yes, sorry,
Blake and
that's what it was.
Murphy, and
Yes,
then
sorry.
they put Alexa Bliss with them, which
Yeah,
get to
no,
see more of her
yeah,
on NXT, which I can't
yeah,
complain.
yeah. I don't know about that, but that's a whole other issue. But yeah, like I'm saying,
But the
if they
tag
really,
team, there's a
if
depth there that they
if
build
they
everyone up
wanted
right.
to,
Yeah.
yeah, if they wanted to do this right, and if they really wanted to make the Ascension a strong force, like they really need them to be, they should have just put the tag team titles on them right from Jump Street, and let them replicate some of the success that they had in NXT
Hmm.
and up on the main roster. But they didn't, and now they have this. Now they're basically just cannon fodder
Yeah.
for everybody else, and it's to the point where I don't think they could ever really be considered, viewed as a legitimate, threat and force anymore.
Hmm.
Even if they went back down to NXT, I wouldn't. They would still just be the guys that lost a bunch of matches on the main roster. I don't know.
Hmm.
Drop the ball there, I think, guys. I think they really had something there with that. At least
Yeah.
the two big guys that kind of like they work together well. The theme music's pretty catchy. The Illuminati pyramid imagery is a little weird, but they made it work. I don't understand the face painting,
I don't get it either. I think
but
there's a difference between maybe modifying your look. It seems like they completely friggin' changed it.
yeah, they did. They really did, and it's
See,
totally
Neville kind of modified his look. He got his entrance, a little more grand for
upgrade
the upgrade for
upgraded.
the main roster. They modified everything, but he still looks like Neville, except Adrian Neville, the man who's
Speaking of who I wanted to mention this because I made a comment on it on social media. If you saw Raw this week, obviously you know how it started with the Seth Rollins WWE Heavyweight Championship Open Invitational, limited to under 6 feet, 200 pounds. And Neville came out and responded to it, and they put on one of the best matches I've seen in a really long time, which I hadn't watched Raw in a while, so it really doesn't really say much. But it was a very excellent match, obviously, between these two, good young talents. Uh, there was a moment that happened, and if you saw it, you definitely did a double take when you thought Neville had actually won the title, the WWE title, on an episode of Raw in the first match. Is the
hmm
reason why Vince McMahon is a goddamn billionaire. The
Yes.
looks, the stun look on everybody's faces when that referee got up from counting two, right before he counted three, and pointed at Seth Rollins' feet on the ropes because Neville had rolled them up too far into the ropes, and Seth Rollins' feet were on the ropes. That moment, oh, holy crap! The looks on people's faces, and goddamn you,
Hmm.
Vince McMahon, you fucking genius, genius,
Yeah.
genius. Whoever told him to do that like that, because you can't just plan that. Like, oh, Seth is going to put his foot on the ropes. The way he rolled them up to be so much like that, those two guys planned that out like that and planned that spot
Perfectly.
perfectly. Vince McMahon gave him the green light. And that's why that man has $1 billion
Hmm.
and we don't. Great, great. That's the second week in a row Seth Rollins does something or is a part of something that is truly mind blowing in wrestling.
Hmm. They had the great finish in the ladder match with him and Dean, which that's one of the best ladder match finishes I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean everything he does seems to do, he keeps on seems to be getting better. But like again, like I was saying earlier, they need to decide if he's this, genius mastermind in the vein of Triple H, or is he this cowardly,
No, chicken shit.
baby that needs to be protected like the Miz was. And they got to do something sooner or later because it's just not making any
Hmm.
further progress. So that's a bit about WWE. There was another big thing that happened in wrestling outside of it. Lucha Underground had their big season 2 finale, or I guess they call it
Season one finale. There was
their season 1
they did a
finale.
two-part, finale, big Ultima Lucha,
Ultima Lucha.
which I
That's how you
love.
say it.
This show has been easily one of the best as far as wrestling. I mean, they had this was the two-part or no, the 2-hour finale. They had a 1 hour which had the trios tag titles, Hernandez versus who the hell was he facing? Maybe it was
Uh,
Phoenix.
yeah,
No,
everything
no,
about
Phoenix
Lucha
won the
Underground, everything
um
about Lucha Underground that I'm saying because I haven't had the time to
Drago had.
watch to I know I probably should. I'm hosting this podcast. I the fact that it's a wrestling podcast and I don't watch Lucha Underground, I feel like I'm doing the listener base a disservice. I know, but fucking deal with it, all right? um,
Hashtag deal with it.
yeah, hashtag fucking deal with it. Um,
Insert Batista quote. You know.
exactly. Uh, they have from what I understand of this company, they have certainly been the most innovative idea to ever be this successful and work. And yeah, they are kind of taking off something that I mentioned in our Nigel McGuinness podcast, which was like this uh, taking wrestling and making it into like a TV show,
Hmm.
more, but not big sports entertainment like the WWE is, where it's like a variety show. It's a professional wrestling show and
Right.
it tells a story.
Everything that's done has meaning.
Yeah, exactly. And is done
It's
for a reason and is
a
done to put
build.
exactly.
I mean, we had the kickoff this one. We had the big blow off match between Johnny Mundo and Alberto El Patron when Melina came out and
I
helped
know.
Mundo win the match, and then Patron gets his revenge. Chuck's so for those that haven't seen it, it's like this underground like type bunker, and
It's like if Fight Club met CMLL or AAA or whatever
yes,
your whatever your local lucha libre promotion was. It's very yes, it's very much the Latin lucha libre style. It's these very much the Latin lucha libre style, just adapted and palatized in a way for an American audience that isn't used to that style of wrestling to be useful. Because again, if you watch lucha libre in America, you're watching it on Univision or one of your local Spanish affiliate, and it's not in English. And you're literally just watching guys flip around, do stuff, tag matches where guys just go in and out, and it's just kind of chaos, and you can't understand anything unless you
hmm
have very good knowledge of Spanish, which I have an okay knowledge of Spanish, and I kind of barely get what's going on. But they've made that style of wrestling marketable towards an American fan, and they've done that by adding this storyline, this creative idea,
Hmm.
and applying it to the
And
universe of professional wrestling, and
yeah,
it's
so they've
worked.
taken ideas from other companies. This Hernandez match that was in the first part of Ultimate Lucha was a Believer's Backlash, aka
Ultima, you have to call this Ultima Lucha.
basically it was the fans' revenge match that TNA had a few years back, which, eh, funny enough,
Right.
Hernandez was also in one of those too, by the way.
It's like they
But
do seem to take a lot of other companies' ideas
and I
and
mean, it was good. It was a mix of actual fans and planted fans because there was a spot, and I can't remember. I think it was Drago, and he does this, big flip dive, or no, or did he? I don't even have to go back and watch it, but basically, some fans took a bump, and
they were
it's this.
plants. I don't think they would ever let
Well, I
fans
think it
just
was a
bump.
mix of like actual fans, but the ones that took the bump were plants. But it's one of those shows that when they do take, like I said, taking ideas, they had the 7-way gift of the gods match, which basically it was these 7 Aztec medallions that Dario Cueto, who is basically the GM, and this guy is probably my favorite authority figure in all
Yeah,
of
I
wrestling.
think this is what's really the driving point of this fact. I am intrigued by how this guy just cuts his promos and he doesn't come to the ring, he just appears out of the back,
Out of his
his
out of his
office.
office that Mundo
Yeah.
got shucked right through the window of.
Yeah, and again, they take a lot of risks. They're doing a style of wrestling that people don't see in the main two companies
Hmm.
don't do. I can't even really consider them a professional wrestling company because it's a TV show that does professional wrestling.
Right.
Like, but
So
they just happen to employ professional wrestlers as actors to tell their story instead of
yeah,
hiring regular actors.
and it
Um,
works
it's
because
working, man, and people are out there are
because
watching it, and
this is the first I've seen like a lot of these guys, so like Pentagon Junior and Sexy Star, and I'm seeing these wrestlers for the first time, and I'm just impressed at how good they are. It's the action's quick, this 7-way gift of the gods match, which is basically like their Money in the Bank. Only when Dario finally revealed what these medallions were for, everyone was fighting over for the last couple months. He's like, I don't like cashing in, which is
yeah,
already, I was like, I just asked you to give me 1 week to promote the match. But if you wait too long, you'll have to defend your title. So it's done in a way, and I wish WWE would make them defend the Money in the Bank more often. I mean, I like that part of it, but
I think I've said that on the show. We've said I think Sheamus is only a placeholder for the Money in the Bank title. I don't think Sheamus is going to be a guy who's cashing it in on Seth Rollins or Brock Lesnar or anything else like that. That's definitely going to go to Roman Reigns at some point in time or someone. It's not going to be Sheamus. I just
yep. So yeah, there's that,
yeah.
and
So
it's. I hope it'll come back for a second season. I hope.
I think the ratings for you can't deny that it's a success for the El Rey Network, and it's become the El Rey Network's, dare you say, tentpole flagship program almost for their Wednesday night lineup. And it's part of this making Wednesday night the wrestling central night that it is again, where it hasn't been for a while. So I think it will get at least one more go around, one more season run. How long it takes to produce it, and how long it takes for them, if whether or not they had a creative plan beyond season one, we'll
I
see.
think they did because there is a lot of things that we've got coming off of this. This whole story with Dario Cueto and his brother Matanza, that has a to be continued thing. We've got this whole thing with uh, the trios tag titles. There's a lot of things that there were endings to some feuds, there were endings to some storylines, but there's some that are still continuing. So yeah, like if this goes down and then we don't get a second season of Lucha Underground.
It'll be the biggest tragedy. I think it's too good not to get a second season somewhere. I think it's what's really going to help it expand is whether or not it's going to be the first wrestling company to go on through a digital. I mean, yes, WWE has its own, but an independent uh, digital provider like Hulu or Netflix or something like that. I think this is perfect right up something like that's alley because it doesn't have to sell as much commercial time
Right.
as does on a regular network.
Yeah.
Yeah, man,
You really don't need to sell it. It's
I'm
all about
all
the
for its
production.
success, man. I'm all for its success.
Hey,
I promise. I promise to you, the viewer of Slamcast, to give Lucha Underground the old college try
yeah.
sometime.
And like I love the way it's shot. That's one of the big things that I like, just how it's shot. It's shot like a
That's
movie.
that's got me over too because I'm like, wow, the camera angles they're using are really innovative and like the perspective of the top down from the ring. Sometimes, yeah,
Hmm.
it's I'm
Yeah, I mean,
you have my attention.
yep.
So try not to lose it. Maybe I'll give it a shot sooner or later. Who knows? Um, Speaking of Melina, who also is alive, if you didn't know that, um, and other divas who haven't been on around for a while, Rosa Mendes just was in the wrestling news recently. She announced she's got a butt in the oven. So
Yeah.
Rosa Mendes is gonna be someone's hot mom. Who'da thunk it? It was gonna happen eventually. Congratulations to Rosa,
Yep.
and I'm hoping what will be soon to be her husband. I'm assuming she has proper Catholic parents, and they're not going to let her live in sin for too long.
Yeah.
Look, if you follow Rosa Mendes on the Total Divas show, which I happen to watch from time to time, although I haven't watched it in a while. But that's neither here nor there. Don't judge me. Um, she has had a trying time in the WWE, both personally and professionally. So for her to get this kind of guess moment in her personal life, it'll be good for her. Um,
Hmm.
we wish her all the best at Slamcast. But I really think this is it for Rosa Mendes. I know, I know the Divas division will really be hurt for that. She was, I guess you could say, one of the last of these the WWE's idea to
Just get hot women
teach
and
hot
train them to wrestle. Yeah.
yeah teach hot women and how to wrestle and see how that works. The Stacy Keebler theory.
And in Stacy
Oh
Keebler's case, it worked out,
yeah,
but
Stacy Keebler's place.
well,
Yeah,
then
no.
again, she was wrestling in WCW Miss Hancock before.
But that's what they took the Stacy Keebler theory. They taught a hot girl how to wrestle, and all of a sudden she's the big thing.
Hmm.
There you go. Bong bong.
And in some cases, it really works, like with Trish.
Such was influencing women's wrestling for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yes.
It really wasn't until these women didn't start panning out as quite as successfully as they want. They all couldn't be Eve Torres and Kelly Kelly. Um,
Who, by the way, Eve is almost,
Also
yeah,
pregnant, by the way. She's also,
almost
by the way,
ready to
she's got a Gracie kid too. So good
Oh,
for her.
jeez.
She's
Oh, there's
married into
some MMA
she's married
royalty
in
right there.
she's married into royalty. Yes, so
Yeah.
she again that's another one who hit the jackpot. But our best of luck to Rosa, and I hope everything goes well. I hope she has
Yeah.
a healthy child. Who
Happy, healthy baby. That's all you want.
exactly. Speaking, we have another kind of melancholy diva retirement moment to talk about. We didn't kind of touch on it last week. We really kind of
Because last week was very Piper centric.
Piper centric, and this story kind of got lost in the shuffle after because she announced before Piper died, and then Piper died, and it
And it
got
got
lost
just
in
kind of lost in the. Yeah, it got lost
lost
in
in
the
the
shuffle.
shuffle. Layla decided that this is finally a time to pack it up and focus on her career outside of the WWE. Personally, I will miss Layla.
Hmm.
I have said probably on this show and many other shows, I thought the Lay Cool bit of creative was the best WWE diva creative in a very long time. Yeah, they were probably just ripping off the beautiful people, but I mean, you give me what you can take what the beautiful people did in TNA and whatever promotions they came from, and compared it to what Lay Cool is doing in the WWE, tormenting their roster, having two women's titles, just being the general mean girl bitches that they
Yeah,
are,
and that's why it worked so well. Because you
worked so well.
hated you. Because I always hate these type of people, and then they're pulling it off, and it just makes natural heel.
I mean, the fact that they were even kind of heelish too, they kind of had like a loose association with Jillian Hall, who just got stuck in my head. Her terrible theme music got stuck in my head recently. Yeah, her just being terrible in general. Actually,
Yeah.
it was
Looking at
Jillian
some of the.
Hall singing Britney Spears, which
Oh
got stuck.
God.
Yeah, which is like the worst thing ever because if not Britney Spears isn't terrible enough, you have Jillian Hall badly wailing Britney
Ugh.
Spears, which is yeah, bad,
Well, at
bad.
least it was something besides her having a really ugly mole on the face that the boogeyman
The
took off.
I would actually prefer that because at least she didn't talk when that happened.
Yeah,
Anyway,
she was just kind of a eye candy for JBL.
she was JBL's heater.
Yep.
Um,
Which
but
JBL never needed.
no, but it completed that whole John Bradshaw Layfield package.
Yeah.
So but we wish Layla the best because I think she's. I would call Layla Hall having a Hall of Fame career.
She
Um,
was really good in the ring too. She was another one that was the feud.
unheralded in the ring because she adapted. She was a pretty face. She was athletic, and she took to wrestling both pretty well on the mic and
Mhm.
in the ring. And she got used in a lot of versatile roles towards the end. She
I think
was
Layla got engaged too.
yeah, she did too. I think that's also why she's leaving.
Yeah.
Um, I don't remember what the personal reason was. I think it was marriage or engagement.
Um.
So good for her.
Who did I believe it was Ricky Ortiz? The rally towel guy from ECW
Uh
or
huh.
WWE. Yeah, that was him.
That's who
So
she's with. Huh.
I think so.
Huh.
Someone please verify this because I am not entirely sure. But if it
Huh.
is, at least he actually did something.
Upgrade. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Hey,
He's
I'd have a shitty professional wrestling career if it means I
he's
got married to someone
he's
like Layla.
he's Latin American Mike Bennett is what you could try to say. He's Latin Mike Bennett,
Yes.
Latino Mike Bennett.
God damn, Mike Bennett, you lucky son of a
My
bitch.
although Mike Bennett can I've become a fan of Mike
Yeah, he
Bennett,
can work, and then he marries Maria, who, holy
and it's
shit,
just
she's gotten hotter
guy
over the years.
guy hit the jackpot. I don't know how the WWE let her go. I mean I would find something for Maria to do to keep someone that good
Hmm.
looking in my company. Find something, find something for her to do.
Yep.
Anyway, that was a fanboying out about Maria. WWE did get into a little bit of hot water. Not
Oh
really hot
God,
water.
yes.
Should I call it a sticky situation?
But
Oh man, I knew this was bad news from the second they debuted because I just didn't like the name. They finally came up with a name for the three diva tandem of or stable of Paige, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair. They called them the not so aptly named or the quite curiously named Submission Sorority because they're all
fuck.
kind of young girls and they all use submission moves.
How do you not? In and this is the same company that still has Cena's fist drop, the five knuckle shuffle.
Yeah. I mean, this. First of all, like as soon as I heard the title, I said, "Wow, this is very, very porny, very porny." And less than 48 hours after it debuts and eventually disseminates around the internet, Pornhub, or it was Pornhub or RedTube or Brazzers or
It might have been Pornhub.
one of the big porn, conglomerates came out and says, "Yes, thank you for putting over our submission sorority series." And lo and behold, the submission sorority series is a series of S&M like hazing videos where young girls have to do depraved things. I'm guessing. I don't know. I've never actually seen it before. That's a hand to God. I've never seen any submission sorority videos, but I'm assuming with my vast knowledge of internet pornography, that's what's going on.
Yeah,
in them.
it's
Uh,
come on. How do you not?
how does that slip through the cracks,
5 minutes of a
WWE?
Google search. Just take 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Just go submission sorority. I mean, you even type those words separately. I'm sure you're gonna get porn or porn related things. Just it's very lazy booking.
Hmm.
Lazy creative, man.
It's
Lazy
just
creative.
them not even really fucking caring. It's
It's like
like,
it's like them not even trying. It's like getting with like the
mhm.
Becky Lynch last kicker shirts, which is like again, you're basically in some way, shape, or form promoting domestic violence against women.
Or what they did. The Hideo Itami.
Yeah,
Rising.
the rising sun flag. Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, just from blatant cultural insensitivity to either just incompetence. I don't know what it is, but it's another one of these moments that just make you shake your head. Someone is not doing their job in WWE, and I hope someone got fired from that because that's Vince McMahon. If his reputation is anything, probably doesn't stand for any of that kind of shit. And someone probably, if not lost their job, got a deep demotion and is getting coffee for people from now on.
Yeah, basically the coffee bitch.
Yeah, submission sorority.
Oh, fuck. Well, they named him PCB now, which
What is
okay.
that? What does that
Paige,
stand for?
Charlotte, Becky.
I mean, PCL should be better. It should just be Paige Charlotte Lynch, or PCF Paige Flair Lynch. I like the CF. I don't know, man.
I don't know. But bottom line, WWE,
You
I
fucked up.
guess having a masturbation reference for your top guy is okay. But
Yeah,
a
but
straight
having
up porno reference for your diva is not okay.
and it's not only that. It's the fact that it's a porno reference where young girls are exploited essentially and denigrated and
Yeah.
forced to do other things to it's probably not good stuff
No.
that you want to like if it's just regular consensual porn sex. That's I
Mhm.
guess we're probably not having so much of a backlash. It's really just kind of a joke. But now it's just like, oh yeah, no, you got to change that because it's like fetish porn and yeah,
And
getting into
that's
the whole
where people are getting.
like so I that's why I want to know who's the guy that came up with this idea because that's something that's way like he had to have seen those before.
Yes.
Like you don't just come up with that in a Google search and or
And
you
then think, oh, let's do this for a stable of divas.
that's something you have already in your head and you're like, "Oh, that'll make a good name. I'll suggest it." And no one will know the difference at all.
Until it gets out. Oh my god.
It's like we said Vince McMahon made his $1 billion back or is now officially a billionaire again. I wonder how he actually did that with some of the people he has working for him under
Kevin
him.
Dunn.
Yeah,
Sorry, I just
you just got the beef in the worst way with Kevin Dunn, man.
And
We're
rightfully so, because I think I said it on our last episode that at least Vince Russo, the hate for him is almost just piling onto the guy. Actually, it is piling onto him because he's done his damage. Dunn is still doing damage.
yeah, because I think it's that the Tough Enough debacle. I haven't watched very much of Tough Enough, but from what I
Oh
do
yeah,
watch,
Miz getting the saving the one girl because she's hot.
yeah, I just I don't. What are they trying to do with this Tough Enough show? Are they trying to find somebody who could actually be a legitimate WWE wrestler, or are they trying to find somebody who they're gonna, you know, promote and looks like it could be something, but then, you know, isn't actually like this guy fucking ZZ might end up fucking winning this thing because people like his hair.
Hmm. I don't get it. I just don't. I did not care about the season of Tough Enough at all. So
I
like I
just
hear
it's
this thing that Miz saved this girl because she's hot, and it's like, okay, yeah, you're pretty much Tough
on a
Enough
show on a
used to
show about
be.
wrestling yeah, like I said, on a show about wrestling or a wrestling reality show, they've done very surprising little actual wrestling. I mean, from Friday to they see them actually just doing like basic strength and conditioning drills,
Hmm.
learning how to bump And
Or
the
the
basic.
fact, they've brought on people that have already been on TV, that
Yeah,
in one form or
what's his
another.
name? Daniel Bryan's
So-called
massage
mistress.
physiotherapist,
Yeah.
so-called mistress. Yeah,
Ugh.
I mean, they're slapping people in the face with their casting selections. This hasn't been
You know how
a
this could have
positive.
worked is if
This
they had a bunch of
this
guys,
whole tough enough season because of everything that Hulk Hogan could be classified as a almost complete failure, no matter who wins.
mhm.
Because again, they've had to change judges in the middle of it. Uh, you know, something that
Yeah,
happened
Hulk
that
Hogan, his shit with all this shit has really fucked up a lot of their plans. We don't have Axelmania running wild anymore. Macho Mandow isn't doing his thing.
Oh man, I just hope he goes back to impersonating other people, like Ben Franklin. When he was Ben Franklin, that was great. LeBron James, just yeah, good
Like
stuff.
he's getting paid and he's just doing shit. Like he's really just living. Like Sandow doesn't never needs to be world champion, even though I think even if it was just temporary, it could have worked if he randomly beat Cena that night. But no, he became the second guy
Could
to
you imagine?
cash.
Could you imagine like if he like beats Cena by some like fluke victory, like a roll up or something like that, and he wins, and then like the
Or their
next day,
favorite finish at that point, the distraction roll up.
yeah, wacky roll up guy,
Really?
this wacky beats some wacky roll up guy. And then like he just loses the title next day to somebody who's coming back, like Daniel Bryan or CM Punk or
Or something like that,
just
yeah. Could have.
something like that. Like that would have been, I thought, hilarious thing. Like, okay, you're now champion. Yeah, you did beat John Cena when he was like tired and half beat up with a fucking wacky roll up. But now you're really there. Knock you out.
Hmm.
I win. Dun, 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 dun.
Lol.
Oh man. But what else do we want to talk about on this show? Do we feel like there's WWE 2K15? We finally are seeing
Or 16, yeah.
some yeah 2K16. Sorry, what did I say? 15?
Yeah, he said 15.
2K16. Okay, well my mistake. The media has been rolling out because Gamescom was this week, so we're going to see a little bit more of every game that's going to come out this holiday season. They have been impressing me. Everything complained about it not having in that review of our esteemed colleague that went on his YouTube channel over there, uh, it seems like they've listened to fans' complaints and they're expanding and adding a lot of modes that weren't in previous games. They're bringing back. They're bringing back the creative title. They're bringing back creative arena. They're bringing back a
Hmm.
lot of the depth to the creative wrestler mode, which was what a lot of people felt that this game lacked. Even though that this you wouldn't tell from what like you saw community creations and stuff like that, because there were a lot of really impressive cause out there. So um, there's going to be an expanded career mode for the first time. You're going to be able to take your career mode wrestler into the Hall of Fame. That's what I'm most looking forward to because I know the
Hmm.
presentation of this game is going to be flawless and on point. And I like now that you can finally attack people during their entrances. Like it's not going to be a cutscene in between entrances. It's going to be one flawless thing from match to cutscene, or from loading screen to entrance to start of the match. There's going to be no cutscene in between. So
No loading, yeah.
it's gonna be interesting. And they're finally, I think, moving in the right direction with wrestling games. Hopefully, we see a real winner because I was underwhelmed with 2K15. Underwhelmed.
I enjoyed
I
it for
felt
what it was.
I enjoyed it for what it was, but I got the point of it really fast, and I moved on really fast. And I hope that they at least have a lot of the same depth that earlier games had in the series. So
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of the roster.
it's going to be huge. That roster is over 160.
120. I mean,
I thought it was 160.
I think it said like 120. It's gonna be like 80 creative class slots, and
Huge. Yeah, that's what I say. It's going to be 160 with the creator class slots. So yeah, I mean,
yeah.
huge,
And I
huge
mean, Sasha
roster.
Banks, let loose months ago that she was doing motion capture for the game.
Yeah, so I mean, it'll have legit, look, the roster is going to be the most in-depth roster of any WWE game
Mm-hmm.
to date, which completionists and people fantasy bookers and stuff like that, they love that kind of stuff because finally now in WWE Universe mode you'll be able to have people wrestle on two shows, so you'll be able to make your own NXT promotion or your own, whatever you want it to be. I'm very impressed by this. I mean, we'll see when the actual finished product comes out what it's like later this fall. It got upgraded because this year I was strongly considering taking a year off from wrestling games and seeing what the next year brought me. And
Mm-hmm.
this little
But
bit of
then Kevin
Finn Balor.
Owens.
Yeah, actually, it was the Finn Balor
Yeah,
entrance
the
is
Finn
what got it
Balor.
for
Yeah,
me.
we knew. Well, when Sasha Banks announced that she was going to be in the game, we knew we were going to see a lot more NXT influence. And I'm seeing the roster list of Enzo Amore, Colin Cassidy, Bada Boom Realist guys in the room. We've got Kevin Owens.
Yeah, exactly. They got to work that into an entrance somehow. They have to give those guys a bunch of lines to record because, I would love to see, that entrance recreated in a game flawlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Great. It'll be great stuff, and it will be absolutely awesome to check out once it comes out in the fall. Like I said, definitely upgraded from a probably
It's
not
really going to
to a
fill in the
definitely.
cracks of, what 2K15 had. That's what's going on. It's really going to fill in those cracks. So,
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's gonna marked improvement from where they were last year, and it proves that they're continuing to be a developer that listens to their community and continues to deliver on what their community wants. Because that was the biggest
mm-hmm.
things that the community complained about were the lack of depth in creative wrestler, the lack of depth of any creative mode. The career mode was far too linear. That's what I'm really hoping that they'll really judge the game on. If the career mode is an actual in-depth experience, like something like the 2K NBA 2K career mode is, because that's like actually feels like I'm actually an NBA player. I want to actually feel
Mm-hmm.
like I'm a professional wrestler going through that grind. So yeah, we'll
Yep.
we'll see. I have renewed hope, man, going into this. So I think that's it, man. I think we
Well,
fucking hit everything.
Stone Cold podcast.
Stone
Page.
Cold podcast. Yeah, do I want to fanboy out about
Go
that? The
ahead.
creepy page moment of the week before we bring it on home. Look, I've often made it no secret of my man crush on this young woman, and just when I thought that there was no way I could be any more in love with this woman or have any more of just fanboy out about it, the Stone Cold podcast. I mean, I want to hang out with Paige. Paige seems like my kind of chick.
Mm-hmm.
She seems like there's no ego about her. It's just kind of she's like a dude. She's like a really hot dude. Like a dude with tits. Like I mean, the stories that she was telling about having to fend off people trying to hit on her at a bar at 13 years old, wrestling at 13 years old, being a 10-year veteran at 23 years old, the stories that I can imagine that are in her head that she's can
Mm-hmm.
remember, and the stuff that she can't remember are probably legendary. And you only got really a brief, small taste of it on the Stone Cold podcast because clearly they were holding back. Because I would love to hear her on Austin's Unleashed podcast, where there's
Anything
no
goes.
WWE censors in the background, looking at her and whispering into Stone Cold's ear to press for time. Um,
Yeah.
my favorite story out of all of it, though, I'm trying to remember, is when the first time Daniel Bryan, she's talking about the first time Daniel Bryan met her family, and Daniel Bryan's going in the back to introduce himself. Hi, I'm Bryan Danielson, whatever. And they're basically shaking down this guy, holding is her father and brother holding this guy Suge Knight style out of a window, fourth story window, for whatever reason. I don't know.
What?
I don't know whatever this poor gentleman did to call down the thunder of the Knight family, but this guy crossed the line and was had to be dealt with apparently.
What the
Yeah,
fuck?
the Knight family, from what I gather from her stories, is like the British version of the Hearts, just without the tragedies of deaths and other misfortunes to befall them. That being said, totally in love with this woman, even more than I absolutely was before.
Yep.
So there's the creepy page moment of the week. Haven't had one of those in a while, or at least where I haven't. Dave's been picking up that slack.
Yeah, and the thing is, Dave lives closer to the Knight family.
Ricky Knight could actually go to Dave's house. He's not coming over. He'd have to take a plane and I'm respectful in my creepiness, Mr. Knight, sir. Please don't
Yeah, and
come to my
I'll
house.
keep it classy.
I keep it
Because that
classy.
is your beautiful baby girl, so...
I have nothing but respect for your daughter. And if Kevin Scaff, the guitar player of... what the fuck is the... A Day to Remember. There you go. Do well to wife that up pretty quick, my friend. That's a gem. That's a keeper.
It's like that fucking clown with Noel Foley, you know?
Exactly, that guy. He's better just sit close and watch. Just be smart. Be a smart man, Frank. Man, we're getting really. Hang on. My fucking TV. Don't want to watch that. Yeah, my Xbox is weird sometimes. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you. All
right, cool.
It's fine.
All right, cool. Ugh. All right, so yeah, moving on from that. You want to just do an Iron Sheik tweet of the week and then bring it home? Because I think we fucking hit everything we wanted to talk about.
Yep, give me the second here.
We did a lot longer than I thought we were gonna do with just the two of us, man.
Yeah,
I'm proud of us. Proud.
We had a lot of content.
A lot of content. Content is key on a show like this. We didn't talk about MMA because we were going to talk about a little bit about that. I guess the big story.
Floyd Mayweather taking a response at Ronda Rousey. Make $300 million in a year, or 36 minutes, where the fuck it is.
Yeah, and then you could call it. Well, look, I think the internet said it best. They said when Floyd could read and text back on his own, then Ronda will give him a call. And then I guess the best internet meme ever when I saw is people do the Mike Tyson voice. You just got bitch slapped by Ronda Rousey. Sorry, champ. Please don't come and knock me out. I don't want to call down the thunder from Mike Tyson. I have nothing but respect for Tyson and everything he's done. Mike Tyson's the man. But yeah, look. Anybody who thinks there's actually going to be a fight between Floyd Mayweather and Ronda Rousey needs to pass the pipe to me because that's some good shit you're smoking. Anyway,
Iron Sheik tweet of the week.
There was another bit of MMA news I want to talk about. Sorry, just to
that's right. Yeah, this thing.
The Rousimar Paul Harris thing. That's been a recurring theme in Paul Harris's career.
So, what exactly happened here? Because I'm not too.
For those of you, the uninitiated, and I don't watch much of the World Series of Fighting either, because
and neither do I. So
it's hard to find. It's on NBC Network, and they just really don't do that great of a job of promoting when it's on. Plus, it's a second and third rate MMA production in this country. So the quality is not what you get in UFC as far as competition. Paul Harris is not in the UFC for the exact reason of this. He locks on his submissions and then holds it long after he tapped. I think he was facing another former UFC guy, Jake Shields. Has Jake Shields in an armbar. Shields taps. It's like 5 seconds before Paul Harris eventually lets go. This isn't the first time he's done this. This isn't the first time he's done this in the World Series of Fighting. World Series of Fighting has seen enough, and they cut ties. I think, Paul Harris is a very talented fighter. He is in the UFC. I'm not saying he's a champion level fighter, but he's a very talented guy. And, if he didn't do this, he would still be in the UFC, I think. But he's, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is. This is so unsportsmanlike, and in a sport where, sportsmanship has to be so key because you're literally you could be causing irreparable damage to another human being, and you at least have to be
Mhm.
consciously aware of that. If you're not, you shouldn't be doing this. I think
Yeah.
because you're just a fucking savage, and that's what it is. It's
Right.
it's
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 not
it's
like, when Chael would go out and talk shit and hype fights.
because
See,
that's
there's a
hyping
difference.
fights. Exactly.
Right,
That's
you're putting butts in the seats.
exactly that's hyping your bottom line so your paycheck is better, so your buy rate is better, so you get more money. That's
Hmm.
being entertaining fighter. That's understanding, being what it is like to be a modern day athlete. There's no place for this in the modern day MMA game, especially now that's it's trying to take itself seriously as a mainstream sport. You can't have people just being cowboys and, it's exactly why the Diaz brothers shtick doesn't really pan out, and like they're just you can't have these contemptuous, is that even a word, contemptuous, like malicious personalities in your sport.
Hmm.
And the only way a guy like Paul Harris is going to learn is if you hit him in the pocketbook. And the World Series of Fighting is probably going to be his last chance of fighting on a legitimate uh, MMA company in this country. I mean, I don't know what it's like in Europe and what it's like in South America, but I don't think if there's any other MMA company that's going to give him a shot after this.
Yeah, there's no way. It's not like Bellator is gonna pick up the
No,
phone and give him a call.
Bellator's
Hell no.
Bellator's Bellator's not going to give him a shot, and Bellator would not give him a shot for the same reasons why he's getting kicked out of the World Series of Fighting.
Hmm.
They're not going to want to put up with this shit.
No, no.
Um,
I wouldn't
so
either. If I was running an MMA promotion, I wouldn't sign this motherfucker.
no, and the only way he's gonna learn is if no one gives him a job and no one gives him a chance to fight for a large amount of money, and he has to go back to Brazil and fight tomato can opponents for no money, living in Brazil, a country I'm sure he pursued mixed martial arts to try and escape.
Hmm.
So, that's the only way Paul Harris is going to learn, and good on, World Series of Fighting for, sticking up, for looking out for the
The sport as a whole.
the sport as a whole and the safety of their employees, because this is a dangerous guy to work with. You don't know, one of these days, what if he locks on a choke on a guy for too long and a guy's brain dead for the rest of his life? And
Yeah.
you can't have this in a sport like this where the safety of the athletes
And it's
should be
already,
paramount.
under. I think New York's still the only state to not
Yep.
legalize
Yep,
it. So
we're still the only people that are holding out because it's quote unquote barbaric, but yet we won't recognize the fact that how many of our state senators are supported by the insurance lobby, or the sorry, not the insurance lobby, the the food service industry lobby,
mhm.
and yeah, the hotel industry. Yeah, it's
Anyway.
it's shady backroom political dealings for another episode.
Oh yeah, it's all politic
That's
bullshit that I can go on a rant about, but I won't because we've got an Iron Sheik tweet of the week.
We do, and I'm been very surprised. I think the Iron Sheiky Baby is quite taking a hit, but we're gonna play our gimmick music and
All
then
right.
I'll talk about that.
Fuck him! I talked to him! I wanna know, are you the man or are you a fucking piece of shit? No good motherfucker! Fucking bullshit! Bullshit, Hulk Hogan! I'm the...
So it's been a really, really sparse week for the greatest living Iranian American on the Twitter. He's probably taken the death of his friend Roddy Piper pretty seriously, as I can imagine, and probably just isn't on the Twitter as much as usual. So, but he did have one poignant thing to say about someone who's become a recent Twitter celebrity. That'd be the one Virgil, his favorite target. He goes, follow the biggest jabroni on earth at Real Virgil, so you always feel better about life. And for those of you who uninitiated, Virgil is trying to have a Kickstarter where he gets fuck money or something like that. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is your Iron Sheik tweet of the week.
Fucking bullshit!
Go! All right, let's get some plug things, and let's go home.
All right, you can find me over on Twitter at GameandPegasus187. I'm on Facebook at Nick Horacek. I'm on Instagram, Xbox Live, Wii U at Pegasus187. I'm on YouTube at the Gaming Pegasus 187. I'm gonna get a video out on Sunday because it's been 2 weeks and about that time again. So yeah, I got a freaking Super Metroid playthrough I'm going through, and in fact tonight I should record. Actually, no, I gotta render this episode, but I'll have another video up Sunday. I want to try and get some more reviews up because I haven't done one of those in a while. I think my last one was Bart versus the Space Mutants. So yeah, Brandon.
Always a good time. The content is always key, man. If you like me ranting about wrestling, obviously follow me on Twitter at @BrandonAllHope. My Twitch thing that's going to be coming up. I'm going to do more Twitch, I promise. I was watching Jessica Negri do Twitch streams, and I want to get money like Jessica Negri, even though I don't have giant, glorious boobies.
God damn.
Sorry.
Like you were telling the story like before the podcast how where you I think walked by her or something.
She got well like inadvertently like she did this. I'm assuming unintentionally, but she accidentally hit her camera and the camera went down, and you got a shot of the goods. I mean, they obviously weren't exposed, but they were prominently displayed. And then like her father comes in, who I guess is watching her, and just says like raises the camera up a little bit and then just leaves the room. It's one of a hilarious moment that you can only have it on Twitch because she was totally unawares of that. No one's saying it in the chat room. Like it's a chat room of 4,000 dudes, and no one's saying because we're all a bunch of fucking perverted men.
Oh, dude.
Hey, look, I fucking admit it, dude. I'm not. There's no shame in my game. But yeah, I want to do the Twitch thing because I want to get money.
Yeah, not like the Virgil trying to just get the money because
I want people. I want people. I want to earn my money. So watch my stupid videos of me trying to play video games badly. TwitchTV.com, Brando Calrissian 420. Like I said, my traditional farewell. If you like this podcast, you like professional wrestling because you've obviously just listened to guys talk about it for who knows how fucking long. So go out, no matter where you are in the continental United States or Europe. There is somebody, it's a bunch of guys, maybe some ladies in there too, trying to live their dream, man. They got dreams just like you and I, and they're trying to do it. And some of them are successful, and some of them are more successful than others. But they're out there and trying. I guarantee you, if you find your local professional wrestling organization, you will not be disappointed. You will be entertained. Your family will be entertained. So support independent wrestling. It's the grassroots of the sport. You could see the champions of tomorrow along with the stars of yesteryear, depending on where you go.
Stars of yesteryear.
To all the good brothers and sisters, stay safe out there this weekend. If you're staying on the show, obviously take care of whoever you're in there with. If you're partying, be sure to party safe. No one wants to read about your tragic death on an alcoholic binge or whatever, coke binge. So be safe, be responsible, take care of yourselves and each other's. That's it, man. That's fucking it. We're going home. It's the go home. So for myself, for the two-man booth, which is surprisingly effective, might be onto something here. For myself, for Nick Horacek, for Michael Burhan, for Lawn Boys Post, Dave Wade. Oh, glory, glory, Man United Premier League football returns tomorrow. Had to get that shot in there because I'm the only one in there. So for everybody here at Slamcast, Retro Unlim Network, go forth and spread beauty and light. Peace, love, and humptiness. I'm out. Let's play my damn theme song.